Next, once you zoom in on a country, choose a city. The city's population must be growing. If you are in US, there is a lot of cities that are shrinking. Oh my God, it's scary, right? There's crime. There's, like Detroit, Memphis, for example. Population has shrunken, and there are no jobs, abandoned buildings, crime, and there's a lot of drug problems. So population must be growing in a minimum. Even in the UK, I prefer to buy in major cities: London, Manchester, Birmingham, Nottingham, Leeds, Derby. I do not want to buy in northern cities where there are no jobs. Population is not growing, or small towns. I know the yield might be 8 to 10%, and you can get a property for as cheap as £80,000 or £100,000, borrow on furnace, one single employer, then there's nothing else. Population doesn't grow, and if the employer shifts out, oh my God, there's going to be a ghost town. So population must at least be growing consistently. There must be more than one industry supporting this city. Salary must be growing, of course. I've seen cities in UK where a lot of people are unemployed. Population are kind of growing, but a lot of people are on welfare. I prefer to have cities where there are a lot of MNCs. So I Google for it, and well, if there's no MNCs, too bad. If it's all government sectors, salaries ain't growing much. I prefer to have a city with international airports or seaports. It's good for attracting MNCs. I recently had an issue where I ordered some supplements from the US, and the factory or the warehouse that shipped this was in a city that is pretty far from Chicago. It's a small town. So from there, I could track in DHL. It took 3 days or 4 days for the goods to be loaded on a truck, to drive to Chicago, where there is an airport. I think it's called O'Hare Airport, where they fly over here. So by the time it reaches me, right, 4 days were lost on the road. And then I think they did some detour in Europe. The flight took about 2 days, another 2 days, and on the 6th day it reached Singapore. Stuck in a warehouse. On the 7th day or 8th day it reached me. So think about it. A city that doesn't have an international airport, usually it's harder to attract an MNC or multinational corp to locate there. Imagine there is a business trip and you're out there, your clients fly to that city to look for you. You have to reach that city and the international airport from Singapore to Chicago. And in Chicago, you still have to take another flight. It's not an easy flight, right? A domestic flight to that city. Or worse still, that city doesn't have an airport. You have to take a car to the city. Or in Malaysia, you fly to Kuala Lumpur, that's the capital of Malaysia, and then you drive up to a small town nearby, where it could be a 3-4 hour drive. It is quite difficult, So choose a city that I feel that can attract the MNCs with good infrastructure, especially transport linkage. Next, step 3, choosing an area, preferably near tenants. You need to know who's your target market. If you're buying retail, there are lots of residential developments nearby. If it's offices, lots of other offices nearby in the city that fulfills the earlier criteria, right? Retail is the opposite of residential. If you open a shop, you want lots of apartment blocks, high-rise blocks, so that there's a lot of density and people have no choice but to come down and buy groceries from you, food, takeaways, but no clothing shops, yeah? Offices, it's good to have lots of offices nearby, like in a business park, in a city that's growing with MNCs, because if you visit that business park, usually investments, business people, when they do a business trip there, you visit one office and then you go across to the other office and you can do a lot of things quickly. Industrial is the same as offices. You need a lot of ancillary services. Don't be in the middle of and nowhere. Residential, near universities, hospitals, business parks, good primary and secondary schools. This is very important. Recently, I've thought about, for UK, I decide to buy near universities because I think overseas students as tenants, there are less issues with the rental reform bill rather than the private sector tenants, because the reform bill may make it harder to evict tenants in future and harder to increase rents. Next, I would prefer hospitals because they hardly lose their jobs. And then finally, in fact, I like good primary and secondary schools because the families live there for many, many years. Number 6, crime rates must be the same or falling. If you see an area where the crime is rising, trust me, delinquency is rising. Delinquency is rising means your rent arrears will increase. Capital prices will not increase, it will start to drop. 7, you choose a grade B area, not grade A because its prices are too high and the rent is too low. Rental yields are too low. Grade B is just nice. Grade C, very tough. High rental yields, capital gains don't go up, high crime area. So B is right in the middle. Now, if you have a keen interest in our property value investing course, please visit the link to our course website below. There, you will find detailed information about our course modules and have the opportunity to enroll. By joining our course, you gain access to our exclusive course chat group where I will personally address your inquiries and provide guidance. Additionally, we will be organizing periodic webinars to further assist you along your learning journey. Rest assured, we are committed to supporting you to the best of our abilities. Titanium Synergy is a joint venture between Josh and myself. Josh, who is based in the UK, specializes in assisting individuals in finding properties within the UK market. He offers mentorship and guidance to help you build a robust property portfolio. We would love to have you join us on this journey. If you enjoy our videos and find them useful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media for regular updates.